A reminder that map 1 is randomly picked, and then the loser picks the following one in these best of 3s. Best of 5s will happen at the end of the tournament. But yeah, the Flyers, I'm glad you brought that up. Cape Blanc's going to be our first one observatory. The Flyers being Sky Raider and Falcon, those are the ones that are going to try and disrupt, because this game is not always just go kill. There is a level of value that you provide by being a distraction.
There was an Aquila kill on the screen for a second there.
So here's our ban phase, everyone.
Panther?
Both teams get 1 ban.
This will be interesting. I feel like it's going to be one of the tanks or one of the snipers. Air superiority is kind of going to happen on this map anyways of Cape Blanc, and it is going to be the Aquila getting taken out. Might just see the Welkin on the other side to make sure it's not as easy to cap. We'll have to see.
And just a reminder of the objective of Cape Blanc Observatory is that there's going to be objectives deployed, and you have to dismantle them. There's normal size objectives that are worth 1 point and larger ones that are worth 2 points. The first to 8 points wins. We have Aquila and Aleseness as the bans. What do you think, Riv?
Interesting. So it looks like they are going to go for the heavy tank on the point. Both Aquila and Aleseness are great at disrupting that, right? Aleseness almost with, well, he does have 4 lives on that striker. You go in, you break your armor, you can get your armor back, and it breaks again. So being able to disrupt that death ball is huge. And look at this. We got Inferno versus Inferno. The Welkins are in there. The Falcons, too. This is going to be an awesome game, Lemon.
Yeah, these bans make a lot of sense because this map is very friendly to Flyers and Snipers, and taking Aquila out, this is something that Shuffle likes a lot of. Of course, you can always have Narukami, but a lot of teams just don't think Narukami is as good as Falcon, so or as Aquila, I should say. But the Flyers are on the board.
I feel like both Bianyu and Key have their work cut out for them. I want to see the Luminate stats after this match because it is just going to be me, I need that, give me a heal over here. And we're going to see the Luminates going absolutely wild here to save the tanks.
I'm excited. Let's get things started on our first map of the second half of the day of Observatory. The first to 8 wins. You have to dismantle those. And remember, any damage that you take while interacting with that objective disrupts it. So it's important to have shields up or use anything that blocks that range damage.
I'm so glad you brought that up. It's very, very pivotal that a Welkin gets to the point, the team is on it, but that a Welkin has the defensive shield as well. The gas, the green gas you'll see Welkin emit blocks energy damage, and Inferno is one of the nuisances, the thorn in the side of Welkin, that can break his shield box very, very fast. So if a Welkin goes in with only box, it could spell very bad things. We'll have to watch for that combo as it comes to. We are on to Cape Blanc Observatory. And it looks like the point is not favored really to any side here, right towards, or actually it is favored towards that right side.
And it's important to note that there is just not a lot of cover. It's a lot of high grounds, very, very long distance. That's why those snipers, those flyers are important. You want to close the distance, and you really want to distract the opponent so that your team can move towards those objectives, maybe even pull them away. But how you build those defenses is one part, but also how you approach those objectives is going to be the difficult part.
And already we see Shuffle trying to just take a garrison over on that A extractor point. Slowly moving in, a shield goes down the welcome box now, but instantly broken. You see there's just too much damage. The Inferno and more has to be dealt with here.
Oh, and those two, those objectives, also multiple can spawn at the same time. So you kind of have to divide your attention or focus on one. And remember, the larger ones, it'll say large objective spawned, and that is worth 2 points. So this is what's going to be key first to A, and they're actually quite close. A has already spawned. Aerial superiority here as we go and tune in with Minsk. On the Stego, you're going to see that this is Stego by the yellow shield, and how you move Stego is get up in his face. That's what the Welkin is with that spin.
Not a good spot for Welkin to be pushed back like that. Easily gassed out. Huge plays right now by Border. This Inferno has stayed at such a great distance, causing so much trouble. Inferno is such an important part of the team because he does a lot of energy damage. Huge. Energy damage is what melts heavy ultra strikers. They are most weak to energy damage, and protecting your Inferno is so important. Infernos, though, they are in the sky a lot, so they're actually going to be playing in IGL and commanding a lot of these plays. That's true. Like usually your Falcon or someone who can see the full view like we have here is calling those shots, but you're right. Inferno can easily take that up here, all the way up top, just laser after laser, and just look at the focus here. Trying to do damage, and to the right side is all of his opponents.
This is so much damage out of border. 2 points for EVA already. Remember, this is one of the top Chinese teams, but Shuffle right behind them when it comes to the rankings. So we go and tune in with Ken, who already has BN extremely low and below half. Is Minsk is trying to dismantle that, and that is the 3rd Corite extractor dismantled. A good lead for EVA so far.
They're getting the they're moving first. It's one of the biggest things. You can get stuck in a fight so easily, especially on these maps where objectives are spawning and you have to move. A lot of times it could be across the valley and over the mountain. Oh, kills coming off from everywhere. Ken, as well as Beyond, getting some, but this is just absolute torture here from the Falcon, chasing him down.
Ken is incredible, showing how flexible he is, because he told us that he is an ultra heavy specialist, but to show us how good he is at the Falcon already, getting these double kills and more.
And look at the energy, hardly going below half any time. Ken will flip out, you see it regen, boom, and they'll get a bunch back, goes for the loop. Yeah, and there he goes, quick regen and gets himself out. Falcons are wild players. Awesome to watch. So here's Stego, a little bit of gas as they try to get to this A point.
Yeah, the A point is about to spawn, and look at that Stego shield up, the Triceratops shield is up. There are so many defenses, and another extractor is about to be dismantled, and EVA has a serious lead, and Shuffle need to group up. They are pushing them back. They're not allowing this to be fully dismantled until it already was. Shuffle just couldn't interrupt that in time.
I think one of the things that EVA is doing very good is understanding when Shuffle's Inferno has to go back. They all descend on the point, and it's like tri-shield instantly. Still, though, Ken, you see him spiraling down out of the sky with full control, though. No loss here, and just giving hell to the rest of the squad of Shuffle.
Oh, man, and you got Rave, who's so low, and great focus fire from Ken, and so low, and forcing the Stego away. And that's such a good win condition. Remember, you do most of your damage as Stego while in your sort of turret form, and that's the job of Falcon, to keep that Stego moving.
This has just been absolute domination from EVA. Moving from point to point seamlessly. You can see the larger 2-point extractor now spawning just 1,000 meters away here from Minsk. And they're distracting. They're taking this fight over to the right side.
And Shuffle is missing a player, so they may need to group up, but a large extractor is being spawned, and that will get the win.
They're descending on it.
And Team EVA could win off of this extractor if Shuffle don't claim it. They have to go for a perfect run to take map 1, and this is only a best of 3. Limited chances for Shuffle in this series.
Very fast. Great damage by the Inferno on the side of Shuffle, stopping that box cap with the shields. You can see the sonar being pinged out by Falcon there for the side of Shuffle, so they can identify every member they need to stop, Lemon.
Yeah, especially when you have anti-lock-on abilities. That Falcon drone, as you called it, the scan, is what can allow you to re-lock on against the defenses. And Shuffle are doing everything they can to not let this get dismantled, but they're losing players, they're losing lives, and EVA is more than healthy enough, and they got the kills to close out map number 1 any second now.
2 members down on Shuffle, one about to respawn here in just a few seconds. 100, oh, you can see them so close to capping each time, but it gets reset, 72%, and it's reset. They are trying their hardest here to get this point. It is an all-out brawl for the large extractor.
Shuffle just have to stall at this point, but they can't no longer buzz around EVA's ears. A perfect and flawless map number 1, 8-0. Incredible stuff out of EVA.
That was wild. The biggest thing, moving from point to point, ensuring all 3 shields were ready. I think EVA did a fantastic job at pulling out distraction fights that Shuffle thought they needed to fight and weren't in position for each of the extractors.
Just every time a new objective spawned, Shuffle were on respawn as well.
That's true.
And they couldn't ever group up, and by the time that EVA was able to rotate, set up their fortresses of ultra heavies, the Stego, the Triceratops, working in unison, and they weren't in a rush. They're not immediately dismantling it. They were making sure that Shuffle were struggling before trying to dismantle, and that's why you have flawless execution out of EVA.
We have a few things coming up, but we do have to pick an MVP. What are you feeling? That was a wild match.
Ken, it's hard to not give it to Ken on the Falcon.
It was pretty crazy. I feel like even with the team capping, Ken taking down the Triceratops, covering things, I think the damage is enough, and the focus from just absolute Falcon ace was amazing.
I know you want to give it to Welkin so bad, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
if Elises didn't get banned, I would give it to Elises, okay? As an Elises main, you are the most annoying striker in the game.
We do see why the bans came in, though, as they did, right? If Elises is able to dive into that box and get the 3 on the point, the Aquila is able to use the sonar coming in from Falcon, it becomes almost impossible to hide anywhere, even in the mountain range.
Yeah, and with the Aquila ban, there wasn't a lot of range damage, so it forced Shuffle to have to brawl close. And yeah, it's one that takes a certain level of skill and how you're able to maximize the value of the stealth, because that's the that's the kit around Narukami. There's some Narukamis that play up in your face that use the stealth to buzz around.
Japan loves to do it. It's so cool to watch the Japanese players do that.
But Narukami is quite squishy, the same thing as Aquila, so it is a risk. If you're uncomfortable on the striker, I don't blame them for not doing it.
So 1 map down, but it's 8 points there to EVA. A fantastic showing on Cape Blanc Observatory, and it does become one of the tougher ones where you are expected to have full fights at each extractor, but again, the distractions. Being Ken, absolutely huge for the team to distract everything. And when you're losing your Tricera, you're not going to be getting the point. So we'll have to see if Ken, again, gets a Falcon ban throughout the next game.
You have to.
You almost have to, because your Falcons weren't matched. We also have to watch. I wanted to see the Lumine damage just because that is so tough to keep 3 tanks alive and make sure you're watching everything, but also be like, I got you, Ken. You know,
someone has to contest Ken on this Falcon too, and whether it's an opposite flyer, and you saw that like Tricera, man, just it feels like an infinite amount of ammo on that Tricera, but still with how swifty Falcon is, it's hard to pinpoint them down. So little deaths on the side of EVA. It's quite surprising.
So we got Hiei getting that very nicely done. So it is going to be a bit of that Lumi healing. Lumine, how much is it? 629,000. So it becomes the healer that actually comes out with the MVP. We expected there to be a lot of healing. There was a lot of health, a lot of damage. But looking at what Ken plays on his sheet, it's Welkin Hurricane Tricera. Where is this Falcon coming from? Oh, it is him!
Ken!
It is him! Okay. 1.02 on the damage. 4, 0, and 10. And he actually dismantled one.
Yeah, and he does objectives. What can he not do?
That's crazy.
And for him to not die a single time on Falcon is so impressive to me. He really maximizes the mobility. It's so hard to strike him down when he is tumbling. He's going for loop-de-loops on your corpse. Like, he has been incredible. Check out the highlights of map number 1 on Observatory. It was an 8-0 if you are just tuning in for EVA, one of the top 2 Chinese teams here at the Mecha Break Invitational. And Shuffle are going to have to maybe target ban that Falcon next.
Even here at the beginning of the game, you can see Shuffle's timer is at 15 seconds apiece. Now there's another 14 seconds as we go to the next highlight. Each highlight, there's 2 more on this next. You know, it's really tough to do any of the capture objective maps, Cape Blanc Observatory with the extractors, especially without your full team here. And that we talked about that before, focusing a few of the deaths of the opponent strikers, making sure they can't respawn, and you just feel gimped the whole time throughout the game. I mean, this last battle was pretty great, but it was already at that 6-0, so you expect EVA to be able to pull it out.
I think just that first fight can really set the tone for the entire map. And you saw how coordinated EVA was with their focus fire. I believe only 2 kills were registered from Shuffle through that entire map. They were constantly being staggered from each other. And with an ultra-heavy tank system, like, you need to be assembled together. And if there's at any point that you're isolated, EVA took full advantage. But Shuffle's advantage is our map pick, and they want to go to Graceland Sky City.
They want to duke it out. We are going to the elimination match. 1st to 6 here. You will be able to get back in on a respawn, but that timer is going to cause your team some trouble. Each one, there are 3 of these. If we go to all 3, obviously, you can win in a best of 3 by 2, but the terrain changes so much. We saw a lot earlier in the day. The height elevation being used by teams by Tricera, Stego, and everybody else that can tank on the top side of the map. But also the 3rd one, if we go there, becomes much more enclosed and easier to get picked off. So you have to adapt to each one of these maps.
Yeah, you can play really any striker on any one of these rounds, but the first round especially I think is friendlier for melee type of strikers. A Lumine ban is very interesting. May just try to dismantle the resources, as this is this game type, again, like you said, 1st to 6 kills per round. So it is about surviving and playing a more passive style, at least from a lot of the matches we saw. So limiting those heals with the Lumine, very smart from Shuffle.
Stego maybe? Yeah, Lumine's already gone there. We saw how much it could do for the side of EVA. And it is going to be a Stego taking out that ultra-heavy attacker. So let's see what they decide to get here, Lemon. I would still expect maybe a healer. Yeah, so he goes with the Panaka just so they can keep that sustain within the game. Panther is a tough one. We talked about how much it can be difficult if you do miss those shots. But supported, they should be able to get in here.
And Panther is very interesting, and I'll tell you why that it's a scary pick. Panther is an assassin, does only melee, but does direct damage. So all of these ultra heavies, he just ignores all that armor, goes right through the health. But Panther needs a lot of help. Usually you would pair him with a Pinaka, but no one can really follow up with Panther because at range damage, or at least you do another melee, range damage has to hit that fluid armor first. So no one can really follow up with Panther, and that's why Border is going to have to be like a one-man army at times. And going after the ones that have the most amount of armor rib is going to be important.
Yeah, it's really important to note, actually, as you mentioned with Panther, but any melees, anybody swinging is going to bypass fluid armor. Melee attacks go direct health. That's why it's really big when your Welkin jumps on something that has shields, starts taking them down. You can break that shield with somebody else like Inferno to make sure the kill comes through. It's all about getting the right combo, and here we see Graceland Sky City about to be the next map our two teams will fight on. We see the variations here of each one that we can see as well.
Yeah, and on that map 1, there's a central building that you can play inside of, so I'm expecting those brawlers or those assassins like Panther to play around that area. But there's also a lot of open air if you don't decide to play inside of that building. It's friendly to snipers as there's perches on the perimeter, and also there's an open sky for flyers. This map is designed to, you can play any striker, but it depends on your position. But it is series point for EVA in this double elimination. 1st to 6 kills, and it's a best of 3 in terms of this map, 1st to 2 rounds. So let's see how this rolls out.
The mini-map is definitely big to be watching on this one for viewers, as you can see where these fights are taking place more so. There's not really an objective to get down on. It just looks like Border is trying to be a nuisance here on the back line, pinging out the Narukami, but not exactly fighting just yet. I'm trying to source out if that's a clone or if that's the real Naru. The fight's happening inside, though.
There's your favorite, Welkin, but already getting pushed off, maybe trying to get close enough to box someone in, and through all the flashing lights is being brought down to extremely low health and low on energy. Minsk is trying to be very smart with their resources, clashing and dashing, but it's EVA with the first couple of kills.
Absolutely crazy delivery of damage coming out there. I'm not sure how we see Mink still alive. The Panaka shield on, the Panaka healing going, the shield deflector up as well, blocking energy damage, and now the box for a little bit of a breather.
Everyone's trying to fight inside of this building. That is why EVA, they picked the Panther for a reason. They want to draw Shuffle into close quarters.
4-1.
And yeah,
5-1.
This is going to be done so
Levin, what's
quickly.
happening? They're already dead.
Stop.
Oh my, everybody, there's 2 people alive right now. They are trying to hide themselves. He boxed on the top of the tower just to stay alive, but hunted already by Border.
Yeah, and cooldowns can be so unforgiving. This game could turn into a bit of hide and seek. Let's see who will get the last kill. Border is on the hunt.
Oh, no.
And that is all she wrote for round number 1. EVA, not with a flawless one, but still a dominating round.
And this is the pick of Shuffle, and they just got shuffled around on that first one. We waste no time. We're going in. This adds elevation. This is what you were talking about, Lemon, where it can be a little different, and maybe the Aquila makes a bigger impact here for make it tougher for Shuffle.
Yeah, on this round 2, there's a central pillar. All the tank
to the tower
want to just sit at the top. It quite literally becomes king of the hill, and I'm looking through the eyes of a king. Ken, our MVP of map number 1, strikes first blood.
What is that? Those shots by Aquila. Absolutely amazing. Just out of actually zoom mode too. Beautiful hits there. They continue to control the top side now, and it just looks like they will continue to push Shuffle around. Just looking at the health bars at the top of the screen is telling a story.
There is just threats from all angles from EVA, and they haven't dropped a single death yet. They got Panther at close range. They got Aquila at range. Shuffle, there's too many problems and not enough solutions.
All eyes on the ping, I feel like. It's EVA clicking on one. They see that target, and the team locks in immediately. But look at this shot! What? No way!
He's untouchable. He hasn't even moved his face. This is just another day at the office for Ken, and Shuffle haven't been able to organize themselves to get back, but there is some signs of life. But it is match point, series point for EVA, as Shuffle can only sit back and crumble in front of the top Chinese pilots in the world.
I'm calling right now, Ken VP.
Ken VP.
Ken VP, baby. I have never seen a flick from a striker before. That's the first flick I have seen in Mecha Break, and that was insane. What gameplay coming out of EVA, and they do take the match.
That is a scary team to go up against. You try to ban against them, they laugh and go to another strength. You try to ban the Aquila, they go to some Panther. You try to ban something else, they show you a different look. EVA came more than prepared, and this is another Chinese team, so you're going to see some friends.
Yeah.
Unfortunate they had to face so early, but it is double elimination. It's not the last they'll see of their brothers.
Awesome camaraderie. What a game as well. They've been scrimming each other throughout the week, so they knew the power that both teams could bring to the table, but what a showing there from EVA. Once getting on the stage, they are able to show us a performance worthy of keeping their eyes on that trophy through the upper bracket.
Just Graceland Sky City is such an unforgiving map to go to, because as soon as you lose one player, one snowball turns into an avalanche. A 6v5 becomes so significant, and just the chaos that it causes too, because when you play a lot of ultra heavies, they're quite slow, so to reorganize when someone's on respawn is very difficult.
It's true, and I think one thing we're noticing from these teams as well that you might not initially in ranked is that press at the advantage, that knowing and telling everybody on the team, there's one down, let's continue to focus. It's not just the high ground being held by EVA, waiting for teammates, waiting for opponent strikers to come to them. They seek, they destroy, and a 2-0 to start off the tournament for EVA.
That is a statement, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, Japan looked like the best region here, but after what I saw Luna Break do, after what I saw from this team, EVA,
Anubis has some competition.
Anubis, I think, is looking like the #1 team, but who's going to be able to shake them up? I got my eyes on EVA going forward. Ken looks like one of the best Falcons here.
Okay, so now, if you're Anubis, do you ban Falcon or do you ban Aquila? Like, now Ken is just this absolute force to be reckoned with on 2.
Yeah, I don't.
And I think he gets MVP again.
He deserves it. I feel like there's like thankless jobs across the board though, because it's like Tricera is so important on those objectives, and even to ban the Stego, you thought that you take out one cog of this machine and it still rolls.
Yeah.
EVA have backup plans on backup plans.
Well, I think it was like Welkin Panaka focus. Like Welkin would always get the Panaka shot, and then you get this burst fire blast for Panaka, plus your damage on the howitzer, on the shields. So that as well. Shout outs to Panaka, healing the Welkin, healing the team. You always love it.
Yeah, and to show us the value of Panther Pinaka too. These were 2 strikers we weren't expecting to see a lot of, because of just how there's other strikers that are better. And with that Lumine ban, people showing us the single target resources of Pinaka, how important that is to support a Panther, to support any kind of solo plays is incredible.
And you see, they're not even able to get that much damage on Shuffle. There was so much movement, so much protection. Only 168,000 damage taken by Ken throughout the game. And he does almost 1 million damage with the team following up on that. Just incredible when you have that kind of firepower. It eases the rest of the game for everybody else on your team. Everybody's just taking a breath like, Ken, I took out another one. I took out another one. Your focus becomes so much clearer on what you need to do in it. Shuffle gets scattered on that first one. As much as they tried, though, they thought Graceland might be the fight that they could take it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't to be.
It's not meant to be, but maybe in the lower bracket, because there is a lot of teams here, and I know SHUFFLA had to face one of the top dogs early, and dogs that they know well, because this was an intra-regional match. But I'm looking forward to seeing how 8fly develops. This was my MVP, at least from the SHUFFLA side, really specializing in those snipers, and really he's going to be the big playmaker for that team. But as soon as he goes down, it feels like the deck of cards comes down too.
It does, and that's one of the things to think about is when do you disengage? Are you calming the amount of time you're in bag? You say you're dead, but your teammates are like, okay, you're dead, but they're still
now
going
what?
in. We need to come back. We need to re-strategize like immediately. So there's a lot of adapting in the moment in this game, especially during your teammates falling.
I would just try to avoid Graceland Sky City in any matchup that I'm not sure if I'm not confident in. It's the Ken VP, as you pointed out, and multiple double kills is insane. To take down a quarter of a team is just quite literally ruining us.
60%, 62% accuracy on the Aquila throughout being able to fire around Graceland Sky City is